Welcome into the live stream here. Neal McCready, Tyler Siskey.
What it is.
It's what it is. It's McCready and Siskey, powered by Rain Total Body Fuel. got a show planned for you today. Get started here in a second. Let some people get in the stream.
Brendan is trying to get me get our show canceled before we get started. He's daring me. He's in the chat too, and he's not talking. So Brendan, don't be scared. Talk in the chat.
I bet Brendan was impressed that I knew the answer to his trivia question.
Yeah. I told him, I said, Neal, help me. I didn't even see the I won't say what he said. My dog. He's my ride or die. He's one of my tag team partners.
Yeah, I like Brendan's my guy too.
He's one of my tag team partners.
He hooked me up with tickets, Thunder Grizzlies in Memphis last year.
He would literally give you the shirt off his back.
Yeah.
You know what he did was so nice.
He actually was like, hey, if y'all want to come down and sit in the courtside seats. I was like, nah, I'm not doing that. You're good. Thank you.
He has a dealership that's right next to where my kids played. Well, Brock played this summer. Dude, he left the office and came over and watched Brock play. It was like 150 degrees outside, and he's in a full suit. Paid $10 to come watch him and for whatever. Good
That's
dude,
nice.
man.
Yeah,
he's good people,
a
man.
great guy.
Good people. We love you, Brendan. Even though you're hiding, there he is. He showed
There
up.
he is.
I knew he was hiding.
There he is.
Love you too. It's my tag team partner.
He was always one of the nicest people in the world to me when he was working football. Same could not be said about everybody there, but could be said about him. He was consistently always good to me.
He is. We had some fun times.
All right, you ready to roll?
Let's do this thing, man.
Okay.
Ready to get some rain in me.
Welcome into episode 92 of McCready and Siskey, powered by Rain Total Body Fuel. I'm Neal McCready. That is Tyler Siskey. As we said, we're brought to you by our friends at Rain Total Body Fuel, 300 milligrams of 300 milligrams of caffeine, natural caffeine, BCAAs, electrolytes, zero sugar. It's got what you need to push the limits and achieve your goals. You can check them out on Instagram at Rain Body Fuel to learn more.
Dude, you know that I'm going with Harvest Grape today.
Yes.
Big fan. But when we started this show, Rain had like 300 followers on Instagram. They're up to like 400,000.
How about that?
Yeah.
The power of the podcast.
Power of the podcast. It's all a podcast.
All of our content at MPW Digital is this week is also presented by Twisted Tea. Are you ready to elevate your college football game day experience? Check out Twisted Tea, your go-to game day beverage for college football fans. Twisted Tea is unlike any hard beverage you've had before. It's made with real brewed tea, packs a powerful punch, 5% alcohol, no carbonation, delivering the perfect balance of taste and refreshment that goes down smooth for every game day occasion. No need to settle for the usual. Twisted Tea turns up any occasion, whether you're cheering, especially when you're cheering for your favorite team, whether you're tailgating in the stadium parking lot, watching at a bar, or hosting friends at home. Twisted Tea is there to elevate your game day experience. It perfectly complements your love for college football, your passion for creating unforgettable moments. So let's toast to unforgettable game day experiences. Twisted Tea, the drink that fuels fun and celebrates your love for college football. Keep it twisted.
I want to start, since it's our show, we can do this.
Yeah.
I'm going to give a freebie advertising. Not that they need it. With a little personal deal here. Yeah. So, first of all, my dad, I know he's listening today because he has nothing else better to do today. Friday afternoon, you and I were on the phone, and my mother was blowing me up. And so my mother and I have developed this kind of, she knows that if she calls me and I don't answer the phone, she won't call me back or text me. I'll just call her when I get off the phone or whatever. But if she calls, hits the old back-to-back phone call, I know something's up. So I was on the phone with you.
Yep.
And I got hit with a back-to-back phone call.
We were talking about, gotcha. Yep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so I'm immediately, oh, crap. So I call her. So my dad was at the lake, was on the back deck at the lake, and had an issue with the green egg closing. He was going to fix it. So he moved the green egg. They're heavy. He moved them on a
quite heavy.
Yeah, very heavy. So he moved them off where they were onto some boards, and then he turned around and he fell through the deck, and got wedged right above between his knee and his waist. Got caught on the deal, but as he was falling back, he reached his arm back because he thought he was going through, right? And he got caught with a joist, and as he was falling down, he caught his arm and had, he's got 2 displaced fractures in his left arm and his radius and ulna. He's got to have surgery on Wednesday. So thinking about you, Pops.
Absolutely.
But here was the amazing thing. He falls through his watch, has an Apple Watch. So I'd like to say thank you to Apple. This is in Wedowee.
Was the watch on the injured arm?
I don't know.
Okay.
I didn't even ask him that. But he falls, and this is in Wedowee, Alabama. Okay.
Okay.
Which is in the middle of nowhere. And the sheriff shows up at the house because he got a notification from the Apple Watch that something was wrong.
And your mom had
cool.
no idea when the sheriff showed
nobody
up.
knew what happened. My dad said the watch asked him, "Hey, are you okay?" or something. And he's like, "Yeah, whatever." He said something to it, said he was fine, but the sheriff ended up coming anyway. So, just how cool is that?
Oh, it's incredible.
So that was pretty awesome.
It made me want to go get an Apple Watch.
I'm seriously like I've always been a Fitbit guy.
Yeah,
that makes me want to go get one.
Yeah, no joke.
I mean, being serious.
For sure. Yeah.
So, but that was really impressive. Technology's awesome. But he'll be all right. Banged up. He's on some good juice. He's got the tabs.
Man,
he needs some more.
I gotta hope there's a lot of that juice.
Yeah,
that's a long.
Yeah,
that's a deal.
He'll end up 5 days between surgery. They got to put plate and screws in there. So 5 days in between. But it could have been a lot.
You were
worse.
afraid he'd done something to his leg too, and
he thought he had hurt his, or my mother. My dad was as calm. You would have never known my dad was hurt when I was talking to him on the phone. He just sounded like normal. No, he was. I was like, you know what? Pops was tough. Pops didn't. Hey, he didn't just preach it. Pops was tough. Now, he made us tough, but I think that house has that's the same house that I fell off the roof of. The house has got a curse on the men in the house.
Remind me if I'm ever anywhere near there to just stay on the ground.
Just stay on the ground. But no, glad he's doing good. And then other personal note, I think you'll like this. I think we are developing a very strong demographic of people that listen to our show.
I'm always interested in demographics and analytics. You know that. I study our analytics pretty frequently.
I think we're settling in on a pretty good demographic here. So Friday, neighborhood I live in, really cool neighborhood. A lot of my age and just a little bit younger people that have a lot of similar interests with kids the same age and all that stuff. Kids run around. It's like the old-fashioned neighborhood, like the 80s neighborhood, man. It's awesome.
Okay.
Everybody hangs out, goes to the pool, drinks some cold beers. So Friday night.
As opposed to hot beers.
As opposed to hot ones.
Right.
Friday night, I get home. I don't remember what I was doing Friday. I was doing something. I come home, and everybody's over at like one of our neighbors' house, letting the kids run around, play, drive their little toys around the street. Guys drinking beer, ladies having a good time in the driveway. Friday evening, and my wife sits down, and she goes over where the wives are sitting, and I'm kind of standing, 10 feet away, talking to the neighbors. My wife sits down, and there's an older gentleman there. He's definitely hit the retired age. And he's sitting there, and my wife sits down. And he goes, he's being very nice. He introduces himself and says, "What's your name?" She says, "My name's Aaron Siskey." And when you hear your name, even though it said Siskey, I kind of was listening to what was going on. And he goes, "Really, like, is your husband's name Tyler?" She goes, "It is."
Yeah.
"I know your husband."
It sounds somber.
And then she goes, "Oh, you've met him before?" He goes, "I've never ever met him, but I know who he is." just like,
wow, that sounds rough.
Then he gets up and leaves. He gets up and leaves the deal and goes back to his house.
How about that?
Yeah, how about that?
So he's not a fan.
Not a fan. However,
now what did you get to the bottom of what this is about?
He wouldn't say. He did not talk anymore after that. Didn't talk to my wife either. Then the next.
How about that?
How about that? Then the next day, never met me though. Never even gave me at least give me a chance to be. I'm
okay. So he's probably upset at one of three things.
I'm going to say one of two. What's the third one?
Okay, one is he's one of the people who will never forgive you for the binoculars.
That was one.
Two, he'll never forgive you for leaving Ole Miss to go to Alabama to coach with Nick Saban.
Isn't that kind of one and the same, though?
I guess. And then I guess the other would be he's not a fan of some of your behavior here on the show. Yeah,
but at least give me a chance to be an asshole, right? Especially if you live in the same neighborhood with me. Wouldn't you think you'd give me a chance?
You know, it's funny. The not to get too down this rabbit hole. The people who have never met you but have decided that they don't like you, there's no changing it. And so you just whatever, it's fine. I mean, I told you back in the day when Laura and I used to do things in town, we used to go to St. Leo and sit at the bar and have dinner. It was kind of our fun thing to do. And we were there one Friday night, and we were doing this thing where you talk to one another.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're just talking about stuff. And we used to, the bartender, Joseph was his name. Great guy.
Oh, Joseph.
He runs Bar Muse now in Oxford, which I've still never gone to. I need to go. Anyway, we used to just like to watch him. I like to watch people who are really good at what they do stuff. Like I would go watch people cook if I could.
Okay.
Because the people that are really, really good at it, I'd love to go watch.
You know they have a channel for that on TV.
I watch it all the time. I watch more Cooking Channel and Food Network than you can imagine because it's just interesting.
Yeah.
Anyway, he's great at cocktails and stuff. And so I would watch him make, and every once in a while I'd be like, hey, well, what was that? And he'd tell me about it. And he could tell I was genuinely interested. And anyway, on that night, he also knew that I liked the NBA. And so there was an NBA game on. And someone asked if he would change the channel. And he came over to me and goes, is it okay if I change? I'm like, yeah, I'm not watching. Do whatever you want to do. And so he flips to a college baseball game. It wasn't Ole Miss, but I can't remember who was playing. And it was fine. I wasn't watching the NBA game. I wasn't watching the college baseball game. I was actually talking to my wife. And he asked, this older guy asked me something about the baseball game, and I said, I'm not really watching. I'm just hanging out with my wife. That's all I said. I'm not watching. I didn't say, hey, man, I don't give a shit. I don't care. I just said, I'm not really watching. I'm just hanging out. I'm just chilling. So I got up at some point to use the restroom, and when I came back, Laura's acting completely different. I'm like, what is it? She goes, nothing. What is it? I'll tell you later. Okay. So the guy leaves finally. He and his wife leave. And she goes, if I tell you, promise me, like chase him down or something. I was like, yeah, I promise. What happened? And she goes, he said something about your husband is an asshole. I was like, based off that? And she goes, well, I have to assume that like he listens to your podcast or whatever. I'm like, yeah, it's bound to be.
Probably right.
No, it's just those are the people you can't do anything about.
Yeah,
that. You can't do anything about that.
However, to complete this side of the story,
all right,
Saturday morning, little Noxie, the older boys, man, they went to school for 2 days, so now they're back to sleep until 11 o'clock, right?
Yeah.
So Noxie wakes up. He wakes up to crack of dawn. He's up like at 7 o'clock. So I asked my wife, I said, hey, look, we're all up. Just me, her, and Knox were up. So let's go to Waffle House.
Okay.
So we go to Waffle House. It was packed. And so you have to sit on the chairs on the side, right? And then while we were sitting there, we're just sitting there talking to my wife, and a late 20s, early 30s young lady,
oh yeah,
there with her husband,
says,
Tyler, love the podcast.
How about that? Look at you.
And the husband's like, yeah, she's infatuated with it. She watches it all the time. So I don't know. I didn't get your name. Glad you listened. But we got a little younger demographic.
That's great.
You know what I mean? Little younger.
You know, I've always
less sensitive. We only have tough people, mentally tough people that listen to this podcast.
I've told people it was a matter of time before one of my podcasts, and it turns out it was the one with you. It was just a matter of time before we shifted from this 96% male demographic to more of a strong female demographic watching our show.
Based on the appearance of the two co-hosts, it's probably what it is.
It's probably what it is.
Yeah. It's definitely 100% what it is.
Yeah.
Bald is back.
Oh, Bald is beautiful.
Bald is back.
Yeah.
Bald is beautiful.
Yeah.
Let's roll. All right.
I mean, like David Ross, bald.
No doubt.
You know, I mean,
hey, it's whatever works, baby. All right. Today is August the 7th, and here since as long as they are in business, this group of people shall now shall now and forever be referred to as the Pac Four.
The Pac Four.
That is what for the rest of the year. They're the Pac Four. It's the Pac Four championship. It's the Pac Four everything as long as they have a league, which I don't think is going to be very much longer. But as usual, I'm sick and tired of talking about the same old stuff that every show talks about.
I mean, this is wild. Friday was wild. Like, I think that's what one of the things you and I were talking about. We're talking about something else totally different, but I mentioned it to you at one point. Just that morning, watching a league, not like Conference USA or something like that, a league that is prominent. When you and me were kids, the Pac-10, I guess, at the time, it was a big-time league.
Yeah.
I mean, USC and UCLA and Washington and Oregon State, Washington State, Cal, Stanford. I mean, there was a certain Arizona State. There was a certain allure to it. The damn thing died in a morning.
Quick. You know what it felt like? That's kind of how I felt when the 2020 recruiting class went the way of the woolly mammoth from about 8:30 to 9:30 on a Monday morning. Just all that work out the window. But let's talk about the Pac-4 implosion. Okay?
All right.
Did you hear Eli Drinkwitz's comments?
I did.
And that's
I saw where Lane Kiffin just sort of retweeted them and said, this is Lane Kiffin an hour ago as we taped this on Thursday afternoon. He says it's
Monday afternoon.
Oh, today's Monday. Jeez, it's been a week already. It's all just really sad. So much tradition and rivalries all gone. How are fans and players' families and all of these sports going to get to these games? This is good. This is good for the student athletes and their mental health? Question mark. Anyone ask them? I hear you drink. Lane Kiffin, who normally likes to sort of troll Eli Drinkwitz. He obviously heard Eli Drinkwitz's comments and said, Drinkwitz said, his quote, I thought the transfer window, I thought the portal was closed. Oh, that's just for the student athletes. And he goes into the same thing that Lane just referenced there, which is, and Drinkwitz said specifically, and he's right, look, football will be fine.
That's not the problem.
I mean, football
it sucks, but it's not the problem.
Football players get on a plane at some point on Friday, and they fly to wherever they're going to play. And they get into the hotel, and they do the meals and some meetings and whatnot. And they get up on Saturday at some point, and they go to the stadium, and they play the game. And they get out of the stadium and back onto the buses and right back to the airport and fly back. So even if it's a long flight.
Oh, it sucks now.
It sucks, but you're back.
It takes you about a week to get over it. I've done two. I was trying to think of the longest ones I've had. I know at South Alabama we played in the same season. We played San Diego State at a 9 o'clock local kick, something crazy local kick. We got back at 9:30 in the morning, and then we played Idaho late and got back at 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning. And you're having to practice that afternoon. You know, it takes you a minute. I mean, first world problems. I'm very grateful for my job. Enjoyed everything we're doing. But here's the problem here's where I'm frustrated. Okay. And I'm not 45 minutes in, so I will not rain rage yet, Bob. So here we go. What Drink said is absolutely 100% correct. What Lane is saying, I did not see Lane's deal. You just read it to me, but that's 100% correct. Football is not the problem here. It's every other sport. But we're saying this and we're taking this stance of 24 hours after it's already done. This should have been done, all these concerns, but it's not Drink's problem. He's got his own concerns to do. Lane's got enough problems to deal with. That's why it's like, even though they got their own problems to deal with, it's going to take college football coaches, because that's who has the platform. It's going to take a Nick Saban, a Lane Kiffin, a Eli Drinkwitz, a Kirby Smart.
It's done now.
But it's going to have to take, I'm talking about in the big picture, not just this and all big picture things, to say things on the front end.
Oh, yeah.
So before afterwards.
But who saw this coming? To the extent that it did, I guess I kind of did.
The second that Texas and Oklahoma left, That's when everybody. Now, I did not know any. I know you did. We've talked privately. You knew some rumblings beforehand.
I did.
I did not.
Yeah.
So when that popped at the SEC media days, when that popped, you should have known right then we're in trouble. It just didn't. Math doesn't add up. If there's 65 Power 5 teams and we're all moving from equal numbers of conferences to people jumping into big conferences, somebody's getting left out. And that's what we were talking about on Thursday, was about the math didn't add up.
Edward Drink said it first. He was one of the first people to come out publicly. I don't think
after Saturday after practice.
Yeah, I don't think this is him trying to sound like Kiffin. I think this is Eli Drinkwitz.
I don't think there's sides here. I think they're all on the same team.
I think they're all on the same team. Eli Drinkwitz thought this. He very clearly believed it and said it on Saturday.
But here's the point I want to make, Neal. And I got a guy that works in my office. I love him to death, but he's a big fan. He doesn't care about this stuff. I do, because I'm looking at it from the 10,000-foot view for the whole sport, okay? But when Texas and Oklahoma leave to go to the SEC, who was the first? Big 12 acted right away. And what did they do? They bring in Central Florida. They bring in Houston. They bring in Cincinnati. They start growing immediately.
BYU, yeah.
BYU. They went in the conference before I let them out. But now what happens is it trickles down. All right, so now, like, golly, we're the American. We lost teams. We got to start adding teams. Hey, UAB, I know you, Conference USA, how's that doing?
Right.
Come over here. Well, then Conference USA has to add teams. Okay, so they start adding. The Jacksonville State's going to be in Conference USA. And here's where it's the problem. Big Ten or whatever, in the Pac-4, whatever you're going to be called, they're getting these $20, $50 million, whatever conference you're going to be in a Power 5, you're getting a $20 or $50 million check, however you want to look at it. These Group of 5 leagues aren't. And so when you end up having teams strode all over the place, like, how much sense does this make to you? I'm being dead serious. Think about this. Right in one of our major areas, the great state of Alabama, born and raised, there are now 4 Group of 5 teams in the state of Alabama.
South Alabama, Troy,
UAB,
and Jacksonville State. Okay.
4 Group of 5 teams that are in 3 Group of 5 different conferences. How much sense does that make?
Let's see. So you got Troy and
South
in the Sun Belt. UAB is now in the American, and Jacksonville State's in Conference USA.
Makes no sense. How about down in Florida? FIU and FAU are in the same town, and they're in 2 different conferences. One's in Conference USA and one's in the American.
FAU's in the American now?
Yes.
How about that?
Like, how much sense does that make? And then Texas, don't even get Texas started. Texas has got UTSA, they got North Texas, they got Rice, and then you got Texas State, you got UTEP. They're all over the place. And so my point is this, is that's where the travel, we're talking about the expense that takes in travel. Like, now, why does FIU got to go all the way to freaking New Mexico State to play a game when they could go across the street? And we're talking about basketball, softball, baseball. It's those sports where you're already losing money, and you're just going to expound the amount of money losing. If I was in, like, the head of the NCAA, I would say, hey, all of you Group of 5 teams that are left, let's regionalize this thing up and save money on travel. You could probably get a better TV deal too. I mean, you could get 20 teams.
Well, that's what it's all about.
You could get 20 Group of 5 teams, really good league in the SEC footprint, and call it Sun Belt. Now you take, like, how much sense does it make that you got Liberty, James Madison, and Old Dominion, different conferences? You got Memphis and Middle, different leagues. You got Arkansas State and Memphis, an hour away of each other. Different
ULM
leagues.
and Louisiana Tech are 30 minutes apart, and they're in different leagues. But here's the point. This is the one I can speak to. Louisiana Tech has long felt that it was just better than ULM, that they were a higher class of institution, that they were a higher class of human, frankly. They don't want to be in the same league with them. So you got all the politics that go with that. But at the Power 5 level, look, man, this was just about money. It was always about money. And once it became, and this is not a criticism, it's just a fact, once it became about nothing but money, and the TV people forked up these exorbitant amounts of money that fund coaches making, I mean, Eli Drinkwitz makes, 7? Lane makes 9. I mean, Ole Miss is a great example. Lane Kiffin makes $9 million a year, and if Ole Miss beats the teams that Lane makes more money than, they're going to go 8-4 this year.
Yeah. I mean,
you know what I mean? I mean, so it's all about money. And so when the networks fork out the money, well, they're working these things behind the scenes. If you're Oregon and you're Washington on Friday morning, you can't sign that grant of right. When that story came out Friday morning, and there were a bunch of big time reporters that wrote it, I was super suspicious, man. I was like, this feels like negotiating. This feels like, hey, Big Ten, you're gonna have to come up just a little off this, and we'll do it. Because I was like, wait a minute, you're gonna sign a deal that passes on your grant of rights, where the biggest thing you have is the Apple streaming platform? I didn't buy it. And so once I saw that, oh no, they've hit the delay button, I went, oh, they got their deal. They got the price they wanted from the Big Ten. And so, but if I'm Oregon and I'm Washington, my responsibility, look, I agree with Eli Drinkwitz. I agree with Lane Kiffin. But if you're inside the building and you're in the room, I always talk about hand raise guy in the room. I would have had to raise my hand and say, look, I get it. There's going to be some fallout from this. It sucks that our softball team's got to fly to Rutgers. But we can't turn down the opportunity to join the Big Ten so that we can stay in this thing that we have left here.
Well, again, it's not there. That's what I'm saying. You can't blame them, but it's just a massive trickle down effect, right?
Sure.
Marine Rebel, thank you for the super chat. Says schools are going to start dropping sports. The pie isn't going to be big enough. I'm assuming that's what he's going to say for all sports. I think you're safe with Title IX. Now you may see some men's sports get dropped, but you won't see a female until the old employment stuff comes around. That's the biggest threat in my opinion. But I understand what you're saying because it's just going to create. Again, I think when you're making $50 million, you're good. It's the smaller conferences I think that are going to be affected more than the bigger ones.
So, but back to my point. So once that happened, if you were Arizona, Arizona State, Utah, and now Oregon's gone, Washington's gone, USC and UCLA are gone, Colorado's gone. At that moment, the Big 12's offering you what is essentially an olive branch. You have no choice but to grab it. It's a life raft. You had to grab it, and they did. And so now you have the rest of the fallout. This is why when people go, I can't believe this is happening. I can. Why is it so hard to believe this is happening? This is the path we've been on for a long time. And the next thing that's going to fall, it is. It just is. It's not if. It's not, well, maybe. No, it's going to happen. I don't know if it's happening in the next 8 days or more likely in the next year and 8 days or whatever. But these ACC schools are already, I said this on the Oxford Exxon podcast. I'll be quick with it. Well, this is my analogy. The ACC has become the married couple that no longer cares about one another. But they're staying together until the kids graduate high school. That's what they're saying to each other. Okay? They're like, hey, we'll stay together. We'll be civil, and we'll stay together publicly until the kids graduate high school. And on the surface, you go, okay, well, it makes sense. Get little Johnny to 18. And then the reality hits in.
Yeah, I saw all the takes about the grant of rights and all that stuff, but you don't want disgruntled members of your conference for 13 more years?
Yes.
Yeah, you're not going to have disgruntled members for 13 years. They'll figure it out.
Yes,
they'll both agree on an exit, and they'll get out of here. Just like how long was Texas and Oklahoma when they first announced it? Remember the Big 12, big boyed up, puffed their chest out, and said they wasn't going to go for till 2026 or something crazy. What was it? Like 3 or 4 years. They said they were Big 12. They're not going anywhere. They figured out in a year.
Well, the difference was this new commissioner of the Big 12 realized that them being there disgruntled was a negative.
Yeah. The ACC.
Austin has a super chat for us. He says, can I ask y'all a question? Why are all these media guys, softball girls, wax poetic over the death of the Pac-12? They haven't won a title since 2004. It's not really about titles, Austin. It's look, so much. I mean, I've got a couple of takes on this that some people like, some people don't. One is college sports, at least when it was in its heyday, and maybe it still is. I don't know. I think there's a reconfiguration right now, and we're going to figure out in the next couple of years whether they've broken it or whether it's actually better. Who knows? I don't know yet. But it was always founded on regionalism. the Southeastern Conference, right? The Southwest Conference, the Pac-10, the Big Ten always represented the Midwest. The Big 12 the
Southwest Conference leftovers.
Yeah, and it was like the Kansas, Missouri schools. There was a regionalism to it. You had back in the day the Big East. I mean, the ESPN would show the Big East basketball, and you're like, I can't wait to watch this, right? You had the ACC.
That's a league I miss.
You had what was the league that South Carolina was in? The Metro, or something like that. I can't remember. Anyway, those were
South Carolina was ACC, right? For the SEC.
I don't know. Those were the leagues, and you sort of the bowl games had emphasis because
they meant something.
They meant something.
That's before people started opting out.
Yeah, and so now I think it's it sucks that you're not going to get Washington State, Oregon State. Those games are going to die. Bedlam's dead after this year.
The Apple Cup. What was the Oregon State one?
The Civil War.
It
was a cool game.
Great game.
I
miss Pac-12. Excuse me. I miss Pac-4. I'm going to miss Pac-4 at dark. Now it's going to be Big 10 after dark.
But look, the Pac-4 died because
Big 20 after dark.
The Pac-4 died because nobody was in the room that they listened and said, hey guys, we're not, just because we once were doesn't mean we always will be. It's one of my things. Just because a school once dominated the sport doesn't mean that it will always dominate the sport.
Nebraska says, hold my beer and watch this.
Yes, just because a school has never dominated the sport doesn't mean that they can't become a power in the sport. Oregon says hello, right? Yeah. When I was a kid, Oregon sucked. Oregon's played for a national title in this tenure. Yeah. Just because you once sucked doesn't mean you'll always suck. Just because you once were great doesn't mean that you'll always be great. Tennessee went 2 decades before they were relevant.
Twice in the last 15 years, right?
I don't know.
2010, played Auburn, and then they played Ohio State, I think, in the first college football playoff.
But that's what it is. And you have a lot of media that's based out of L.A., a lot of media that grew up in California, a lot of media that's sentimental about some of those rivalries. Those rivalries are dead now, and it's like Lane Kiffin said, it sucks.
It does suck. All right. Question for you, Neal McCready. What does the Pac? I'll give my answer after you give your answer. What does the Pac-4 do from here?
Well, I think one of two things is going to happen. They're either going to find a way to somehow join the ACC.
Won't happen, I don't think.
My guess is that won't happen because there's too many schools in the ACC that are like, hey, look, y'all do whatever the hell you want to do. I'm just telling you, as soon as we get a chance to get the hell out of here, we're leaving.
Yep.
You want to date Stanford? Go for it. That's another reason for me to get the hell out of this marriage before little Johnny graduates high school. That's where we're going. You're going to date Stanford? Well, I tell you what, I'm going to date Alabama. Okay, that's fine. Do what you want to do.
I love your analogies.
That's where it's going.
You should write. Hey, instead of children's books, you should write like young adult books where you can explain things.
No. And then the other is
Birds and the Bees.
The other one that makes sense that you could get to 16. You could just merge the Mountain West with the Pac-4.
Birds and the Bees with Backdoor McCready.
There you go. That's good.
This episode brought to you by the Biden administration.
You'd have the Pac-16, and you just call it the Pac-12 again. Have 16 teams. Numbers don't matter. And I guess you could appeal and go, hey, we're still a Power 5 school, Power 5 league. And we still get our automatic qualifier, right? At which point the other leagues are going to say, "No, dude, no." I don't know. Those are their options. They don't have a good option.
I got a good theory for you, Neal. See what you think about this theory. I don't know if you remember this, but about 2 months ago, San Diego State notified the Mountain West that they were leaving. You remember that?
Mm-hmm.
And then they changed course and took it back, like the next week. Remember that?
I do.
I think the Mountain West is going to take Cal, Stanford, Oregon State, and Washington State, and they're going to join the Mountain West.
That's what I just said.
I think they're going to go away. All she wrote. Bye-bye Pac-12.
Oh, so you think they'll drop the brand and everything?
That's where I think they're going to go. Those 4 schools will completely leave the Pac-4 without anyone.
Okay.
I think they join the Mountain West.
Okay, I'm going to tell you that I agree with you, except
you think they're going to take the Pac-12 name?
I think they're going to take the Pac-12 name because that name has more appeal, and they're going to fire the Pac-4 commissioner and let the Mountain West commissioner be the new Pac, whatever they call it, commissioner.
So basically semantics on a merger?
So you'll have Boise and Fresno and Utah State and Colorado State and Air Force, and those guys get Washington State, Oregon State, Stanford, and Cal. Stanford and Cal are going to say this doesn't fit for us, at which point
they might as well go independent anyway.
The only way that it works for Stanford and Cal at this point, I suppose, right, is, and then I don't know how you justify, hey, we care about academics so much that we're going to take our track and field team and we're going to fly to Raleigh, North Carolina, and Atlanta, and Miami,
makes no sense.
And Boston. I mean, it's a real mixed message there.
Yeah, now that's
because I mean that's where you in the room you go, hey, if we're going to say that academics are the reason that we didn't do this, why are we doing this? Because this says that, hey, we're just about the money, which begs the question, why the hell didn't we make it work in the old Pac-12? Why didn't we try to go to the Big Ten?
Yeah.
Why don't
I don't know if they did or didn't. You know what I mean?
And I don't know the answer.
That was surprising. The Big Ten's big academics. I mean, that's their thing, right? I was surprised that wasn't part of the deal. I thought they'd both come, but it is what it is. All right, Neal, before we move on, we've got another super chat from Marine Rebel. Thank you again, brother. It says, you're right about Title IX, but do you think that college sports will be men's basketball and football and then a bunch of women's sports? I don't know.
I don't know.
That's so far down the road.
Ask me in 2 years.
Yeah. I think the whole employee label, that's going to determine all that, depending on what to do there. All right, let's shift gears a little bit there, Neal.
All right.
I've talked to somebody and told them I was making this prediction today, so they were not very happy with me.
Oh, I have a feeling I know who you talked to.
Let's talk about your pick and my pick to be the Group of 5 representative in the New Year's 6 bowl games this year. Last year it was Tulane.
Mm-hmm.
We've had Tulane. We've had Memphis. We've had Central Florida recently. Who else have we had recently? Boise is always a candidate. Cincinnati, was that 2 years ago? So here we go. Your pick, Neal's pick, or you want me to start with mine?
I have a feeling we would say the same thing, and we would upset the same person.
All right. Well, I'm going to say it.
Yep. I'll let you say it, though. He can be mad at you.
Okay, he'll be mad at me. The official Tyler Siskey Group of 5 representative going in to the football season 2023, Year of the Lord 2023, will be the University of South Alabama Jaguars.
Yeah, I had a feeling you were going to say that. You're going to piss Kane off.
He is. He's going to be so pissed. He'll be all right. He'll be all right. So here we go.
Hey, Kane, for the record, I didn't say it. Kind of thought it, but I didn't say it. He said it.
They have 20 of 21 starters come back.
Yeah.
And they haven't lost guys. They've added guys. I don't, people need to go study whatever the hell he's doing down there. He's managed to keep people from leaving and add out of the portal. And he's very picky what he's doing out of the portal, how he's doing it. But he's set himself up for the last 2 years. He has been killing it. He's used this. Well, everybody's gone portal crazy. And I'll tell you another team. We'll talk about them later. But kind of like Southern Miss has done. All these schools in the Southeast have been, I say all these schools, the second-tier SEC programs. That's not if your school's not named Alabama, Auburn, or Georgia.
Okay.
I shouldn't say Auburn in there. I'd say Alabama, Georgia. Who am I missing? Texas A&M. These guys are recruiting the elite, the 5-star guys. When you are an SEC, an ACC team, and you're recruiting basically the Johnny 3-stars that should be going to play college, instead those guys – Kane's been killing it in recruiting, getting guys that you would see in SEC programs 5 years ago. And he's kind of been doing that for a couple of years. He's added the right portal pieces. He's got Bradley back. The kid can spin it for a second year. He's got, top 2 receivers back. Jalen Wayne's one they lost. But, like, on defense, I think on paper it says, like, he's got 18 starters back or whatever.
Yep.
But the 2 people that are starting were starters before and missed a year because of injury last year. But they're back. So technically, he never really lost a starter.
Right.
And here's the deal. They got to win 2 games. We'll know really early.
Here's their schedule. September the 2nd, they open with in New Orleans against Tulane.
That's the big one.
Then they get Southeast Louisiana at home. They go to Oklahoma State on September the 16th. That's the
second one.
Then after that, it's Central Michigan at home. They got to go to James Madison.
Yep.
They have to go to Monroe. It's always a trap in Monroe because you go to Monroe and you get caught up by the scenery.
It really is a bad trip.
And you just the ambiance of Monroe and all the culinary options in Monroe. And before you know it, you're on the field at historic Malone Stadium and you're not ready to play.
Best visiting locker room of all time.
And then the mighty Warhawk comes soaring out.
Never saw that.
Oh, it's incredible. And
I missed that part.
Yeah, it's amazing. And then before you know it, you're beat.
You are way up in the air on the press box, though.
You are. They play on a Tuesday night, it looks like, in Mobile against Southern Miss.
That will be a tough. I think if they can get quarterback play, that's the only thing they're missing. I think they got to have consistent quarterback play. If they get consistent quarterback play, they're going to be really good.
They get ULL at home, and then they have to go to Troy on November the 2nd.
We may have to do a repeat.
What day of the week is November 2nd?
Thursday.
Oh, we could do that. And then Arkansas State.
I know a guy. I bet we can get it. I bet we can get his
I feel confident we could get tickets. Arkansas State. I mean, although by that point in the year, Kane might hate you. Kane might literally. He might pull every string he's got at Troy to have you banned from the place. Yeah. I might be doing a solo show. Marshall goes there, and then they finish the season at Texas State.
I think Troy will be tough. Southern Miss will be tough. But the two that they got to get through is Oklahoma State and Tulane. And I think they're getting through Tulane. I'll go ahead and tell you, I'm picking them to win straight up against Tulane. They're getting 7 points. I'm picking them straight up to beat Tulane.
I think Tulane's one of the more overrated teams coming into the season.
They lost a lot. They got the quarterback's back, Pratt's back.
And he's good.
He's really good.
He's good.
They have some things, but that's the one thing about
Willie Fritz is a really good coach.
Great ball coach.
Yeah, he runs a really good program.
He's kind of Brian Kelly a little bit too. He's won at Central. He's Central Missouri. He's been at the other areas, Georgia Southern. He's been everywhere and won. But it's a lot to. I mean, that's a special season they had last year. It's hard to recoup those things. I think our guys at UTSA are going to have a chance as well. I think they have a chance to win their league. They got a lot coming back, a ton coming back. So I think they have a chance. And then the one out of the Mountain West, I think, has a shot as Boise if they can run the table. Those are the three, I think, candidates. If you said it came out of one of those three, I wouldn't be surprised.
By the way, the coaches top 25 is out today. The preseason coaches top 25. This is a panel of 63 coaches and sports information directors.
This is the worst poll in the history of polls.
Yeah, the media gets a lot of criticism, and as it should.
It shouldn't get near as bad as
but this is worse. It's Georgia's number one, as you might expect. Michigan, Alabama, Ohio State, and LSU round out the top five. South Carolina, they wish. Southern Cal is at 6. Penn State is 7. Florida State 8. Clemson 9. Tennessee 10. Washington, Texas, Notre Dame, Utah, and Oregon 11 through 15. TCU, Kansas State, Oregon State at 18. Oklahoma 19. North Carolina is 20. Wisconsin is 21. Ole Miss is 22. The aforementioned Tulane Green Wave opened the season 23. Texas Tech is 24. Texas A&M is 25. If you're looking for other schools that got some votes that we just got through talking about a little bit, Florida would be 28. UTSA would be 29. 31. Kentucky would be 32. Troy would be 34. Arkansas 35. Fresno would be 38. Auburn would be 39. Mississippi State would be either 41 or 42, whatever.
Troy's going to be really good. Troy's going to be good on offense. It's like all their experiences come back on offense. They lost a ton on defense. Now that's what Summerall does, right? Big defensive guy. So they'll be good. They got to gel quick. They just had so much experience come back on defense last year. Their defense basically carried them the whole season. until their offense caught up. Then they started beating the piss out of everybody late, right? So I think I'm telling you, man, that Troy South Alabama game last year, that was a freaking game, man. That was a grown ass man game.
It was as physical a game as I've seen
on any level.
Yeah, in person, maybe
minus the NFL. I don't count the NFL, but dude, there was violence on that and 2 violent guys. So it was awesome. All right, before we get into the NFL, Neal, any games you got circled in week 1 for upsets? I got 2.
All right, go ahead with your 2. I've got it pulled up.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and tell you, I'm picking the South Alabama Jaguars to win outright at Tulane. That's the first Saturday. It's a 7:00 kick.
Okay.
I'm picking them to win outright. And then my number 1 upset on Thursday night. My Florida Gators.
That's the one I was looking for.
Are going out to Utah. They're giving up, I think, 8 points is what I saw it the other day.
Mm-hmm.
Florida will win outright in Utah.
Okay.
And before everybody calls me nuts, would you feel better about Florida going out there and winning if I told you Cam Rising wasn't going to play?
Well, sure.
He's yet to practice. He's dinged up. He's going through he's not throwing full speed. He's had off-season surgery. That's not the game that you want to go out there and go, hey, go get him, kiddo. I mean, the whole point of having surgery is so you're like healthy when the first game comes. You don't want to have surgery, go in the first game and put Toradol and cortisone on the shoulder so he can go throw. That's not what you do post-surgery. I don't know if he's going to be ready enough to go play in a game. I'm taking the Florida Gators, man, straight up.
All right.
People are going to grind. I'm just ready for grind to just drill my eyes out over here.
I'll give you an upset week 1. It's not much of an upset. The line's just 3 points. I like South Carolina over North Carolina week 1.
It's going to be a good game.
Charlotte. South Carolina getting 3. I don't hate that at all early on. I love a pissed off Oregon State wanting to send a message and just routing San Jose State. They're giving 16.5, and as you would say, that's not enough.
Is that a conference game?
It's a soon-to-be conference game. And then the one I love, honestly, I love LSU minus 2.5 against Florida State. Love it. Love it.
I'm not betting on that game.
Are those quick U clients?
One of them is.
LSU's a client, right?
They are. Yeah. But I just, dude, I'm not sleeping on Florida State. I think they're going to be really good.
I do too.
I mean, I think they're going to be really good.
I do too.
Really good.
I do too.
And I think LSU's going to be really good. I'm just tuned into that one. I probably will not wager on it. I don't know.
That's a Sunday night.
I mean,
is that Sunday night or Monday night?
I don't know. I'm just not going to bet on it. I will be watching every play, but I'm not betting on it. I wouldn't know if you told me the result.
Sunday at 6:30. God, that's got the grill lit. Few cold ones. All over that.
Allegedly. Maybe. Guaranteed. All right, you got anything to talk about before we go to well, I got one more thing, college, then we'll let you say something. We got week 2, a couple college things, and we'll get to NFL, then we'll wrap it up with NFL. We got week 2 of fall camp coming this week.
Preseason camp.
What I say, fall camp?
You said fall camp.
Just have it.
It's 100 degrees.
Sorry, it is hot. A lot of fans they don't understand. This is probably the biggest week of preseason camp. Because you know what happens this week?
This is the last week that guys get reps just because they're on the roster.
Pads go on this week.
Right.
And all you dudes that have been, underwear All-Americans, we're going to see how low they hang, see how low the nuts drop. Because you're going to bang a little bit this week. We're going to find out who can take it and who can't. We're going to see who all the this is my favorite week because this is when all the soap opera and recruiting, all the I'm the man, show me some love. That goes away so fast. About the first time they get smoked. I may or may not have ever put in somebody that drove me nuts into a matchup that I knew they were going to get knocked out just so they would shut up. But you see what it's all about. So there's going to be some banging this week, some intensity, and then that's what separates it. No one of any fan base has any idea what your O-line and D-line is going to look like until at the end of this week. So I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear nothing about running backs until this week. Don't want to hear a word about how good your running back is until he gets handed the ball and he has to make chicken salad out of chicken shit. I don't want to hear nothing about it. When it's time, when it comes, the moment of truth is what I like to call it. The moment of truth, what happens? Because somebody always gives in. And this is where the rubber meets the road a little bit. And so all the talking's over with. There's no cameras around. It's just you and your buddies. And you know something's going to happen. And this is where you decide, hey, this guy's going to play for us and this guy's not. And at the end of this week, after this week, the reps will get cut this week. Many kids will decide they want to go in the portal after this week.
Because you do some shifting from, hey, we're getting our team ready to, hey, we're getting our team ready to play games.
Yeah, you're getting out of that mode, and then you basically got 2 weeks left after this week, right? And so what you'll do is, even before you go into quote-unquote scout teams, I'm going to start cutting my reps and start getting chemistry. Like if I got a young kid, especially if I got a young kid or a newcomer that I'm counting on helping us, I may put him with the ones to start getting to see if they can handle the pressure. That's the whole thing, is like you got to create an environment to where it's more hectic on the practice field than it's going to be in a stadium. And that's hard to do without being semi-crazy. Like you have to do that.
But yes, I laugh at, and I get it. It's just it's a sign of excitement among fans, but I laugh at media that have scorching hot takes 2 and 3 days into practice.
Quit.
I'm like, fellas.
Quit.
Let's give it another 10 days. Why don't we?
All right. I want to talk real briefly on recruiting. I'm not going to address this question. So got a question today from UM98 Rebel. He said, T. Siskey, I would love to hear your thoughts, RE head coach involvement in recruiting. It's understandable to me to lose a player for higher NIL. Player development at certain positions under assistant coaches, example, wide receivers to go to Ohio State or whatever. However, losing out on a coveted and interested prospect because of laziness is inexcusable to me. Can you also provide clarity to the rules and normal amount of head coach involvement with highly coveted prospects? Thanks in advance. I'm not going to answer this the way you think I'm going to answer, because I saw you sit back out of the corner of my eye. I saw you start sweating bullets. First of all head coaches have to be involved in recruiting. I mean, that's period. I've been very fortunate in my career. I've worked with guys, with head coaches that are extremely involved. So that's never been a problem in where I've been. There are limits on what they can do and can't do, yada, yada, yada. But I wanted to say this because I talked with a school last week about this. I was trying to figure out in my lifetime and career in college coaching, I figure I've been in probably 1,000 home visits, around 1,000 home visits. And when we would sign a kid or not sign a kid, I'm going to continue the relationship and all those things. And I would ask them, I'd say, hey, why did you choose us? Or why did you not choose us? Because I've lost guys, got guys, the whole deal. And my whole point is we are so, as a recruiting, and we're fixing to go to this, I'm going to a big personnel symposium this weekend, right? But in the world of recruiting and where it's gotten, we have just gone off the deep end reservation. When I ask the question, I say, why did you choose us? Why didn't you choose us? It comes down to 3 things, okay? And I call this keeping the main thing the main thing. The reason they either choose you or they don't choose you comes down to 3 things, and 3 things only. It's money, number 1. They choose you or don't choose you because of money. Number 2 is relationships. They either have a really good relationship with your staff or they don't.
Right.
And 3 is a schematic fit. Those are the only 3 reasons that I've ever been told why somebody didn't choose us. I never, not one time, this is what I'm talking about, keeping the main thing. Never sat down and said, hey, man, why'd you choose School X instead of us? And they said, hey, coach, you know what? Because back in July, when I went on their visit, man, I got to take a picture with a Lamborghini. It's never happened. You know what else has never been told to me? Hey, coach, about 18 months ago, they offered me 7 days before you did. They were the first to offer. That has never been told to me. And over 1,000, I got a data point, 1,000 data points. It's never been told to me.
Stadium size never came up.
Facilities, believe it or not, never came up. Hey, coach, I'm choosing them because of you, or not. I'm choosing them instead of you because their locker room's nicer. Mm-mm. Jersey uniforms, Jersey combinations never happened.
Mm-mm.
All this stuff that we put all this importance on, and here's my personal favorite. And so everybody in the recruiting world is just going to give me a high five. No one ever said, hey, your photo shoot was better or worse. And never in the history of time did they say, hey, they sent me a birthday graphic and you didn't. There is nothing worse than working in recruiting. And then you get a phone call on a Sunday morning at 7:30 and saying, hey, little Johnny's grandma Susie, it's her birthday, and Oregon sent her a birthday graphic. And and so you got to get on the phone, call your graphics person, scramble. And so the great philosopher Kevin Steele, the great philosopher, he's the 21st century great philosopher Kevin Steele, had a massive sign on his desk that I took with me after I took over. A failure to plan on your part does not create a crisis for me. Signed, the great 21st century philosopher Kevin Steele. It never been said. And guess what? I never had a kid say, hey, coach, they sent Grandma Susie a birthday graphic. You didn't. So the point of this drill is to keep the main thing the main thing. Control what you can control. Well, you can't control your scheme. You're going to do what you do. But so there's two things that you can control. Your money, by going and raising it. But the most important thing, and that's why I'm answering the question like this, is your relationships with the kid. It takes hard work. It takes time. Any relationship takes time. If you want the guy, you have to spend the time in relationships. Because in this new world that we're in with money, if we all have close to the same amount of money and we're all offering kind of the same kind of money, relationships will take over and win. You go down to the next step. If the money's kind of the same, it's going to go to relationships. And I think that's why it's important. Now, why has it been suffering, in my opinion? I think there's a lot of staffs. There's 10 different thousand ways to skin a cat, right? A lot of staffs have gone, and there's high school coaches out there about to high-five me on this one. So many staffs have gone to recruiting by position instead of recruiting by area.
Yeah.
And what happens when you do
Meaning
that?
the running backs coach recruits running backs. The wide receivers
Correct.
coach recruits wide receivers.
Instead of saying, the Alabama guys got the Alabama schools and then having the position coach as a secondary recruiter.
Yeah.
Well, the reason that's bad is because it goes back to relationships. I can't tell you how many times I've had a phone call. I'm doing my business now. I haven't been I got a call like 4 months ago. And during the spring, I got a call from a coach in Alabama said, hey, who's the area recruiter at Alabama for my school? Hell, I don't know. I've been gone for a while, but they don't have anybody to call. The coaches, when they need something or they need to get in touch with somebody, they don't know who to call when you go straight position. And so that's killing relationships. And if you want to lose a kid real quick, sour relationship with a head coach in high school. I'm speaking because I coached high school before. You want to lose a kid, go sour your relationship with that head coach and see how that works out for you. So that's the answer also to answer some of your questions that y'all are asking. If you want to understand why relationships go south, go screw up the relationship with a high school coach and see how that works out for you, because you'll end up losing a guy. This episode brought to you by the Biden administration.
I don't know about the Biden administration. We're brought to you by Comer Heating and Air, Southern Air Conditioning and Heating. Different names, same great products and services. If you're in Oxford, Batesville, Tupelo, or the surrounding area, and that AC acts like it's really straining to cool things off, get in touch with our friends at Comer, 662-801-1777. If you live in Hernando, Memphis, Olive Branch, that area, and you have the same issue, call the people at Southern. 662-429-4429.
All right. We'll cover this and then we'll get the heck out of here. I'm almost on time, but almost behind. All right, let's shift gears a little. NFL. We've done the South. We've done the East. Do you know what time it is? Do you know what side we're going to today?
It's time for the North.
It's time for the North.
Yeah. Go north.
Go north, which for some reason
right now going north sounds really good.
It does. It's hot as hell outside.
It is.
We are going.
People were wearing sweatshirts and stuff at Wrigley Field over the weekend, and I was like, man, I am so jealous.
Right. Dude, it was 100. I took Brock to a baseball thing in Memphis this weekend. 97 degrees on the field, or 97 degrees in air. Heat index 117.
On that turf?
No, just, when you hit it feels like 117. I was like, nah.
I was at Ole Miss's practice on Saturday morning, and they finished it was about noon, and it was hot, man. I mean, you could tell guys were starting to fold. And I wasn't faulting anybody.
It's okay, man. It's like petting them. It's okay.
No, I got it.
It's okay. I don't have to. You tough to me. It's okay.
3 hours in that stuff, man. I get it.
It's okay. It's okay, little one. Go get you some water. It's okay.
I mean, it was hot.
Anyway, can you make? I'm not going to go there. All right. AFC North. I'm not going to say it. I'm not doing it. Not today. Not doing it.
All right. Fair enough.
Because the rain has kicked in. I'm afraid if I say the first sentence, it's going to be downhill from there. So I'm going to keep us on schedule today.
Okay. I'm legitimately curious.
I'll tell you afterwards.
Okay.
All right. AFC North.
Yep. It's easy.
I know we got the Bengals. I think we both agree they're going to win. And this is an unbiased opinion, by the way.
This is unbiased.
It's completely unbiased.
They will win the North.
They will win the North. And it is completely unbiased.
Kind of unbiased.
Kind of not really. I have, ever since Joe Burrow has been with the Bengals, I shouldn't say that. I was pulling for the Bengals when AJ was there, right?
Yeah.
And AJ left, did his little thing, and now Joe Burrow. I love me some Joe Burrow.
I do too.
Man crush on Joe Burrow.
For sure. Me too.
Love the hell out of him. So I'm going to pick the Bengals every year as long as he's the quarterback there. And if he goes to the Falcons may win a game if he went to the Falcons.
So the Bengals have Burrow. I have a bit of a man crush on Jamar Chase. They've got one of my favorite people that I've ever covered in any school, any program, anywhere, Mike Hilton on that team.
The man.
Love Mike Hilton. I just like everything about him. I like that team. They're fun. I think the Burrow thing is going to end up being the calf, as long as they manage it properly.
It's a calf.
And they will. He's going to be perfectly fine by the time they open on September the 10th or whatever.
Look, long as his right arm is attached and he can walk without crutches, let's go.
Well, they have so much continuity in their building. Head coach, offensive coordinator, his receiver core is basically the same. Joe Mixon's back for another season. His offensive front has had time together. They'll be fine. If there was a bunch of change, you'd be like, oh, boy, this preseason matters. Burrow's fine.
Yep.
I think they win 13 games. They're that good. And then after that, it gets pretty interesting because I think
this is where I'm curious to see where you're at.
See, I think Cleveland's going to be better.
Okay.
Cleveland's going to be better. I think Pittsburgh's going to be better. I like Kenny Pickett. Now, not better doesn't mean they're going to the playoffs, but they're going to be okay. The team that I'm not as high on as everybody else is the Ravens. I've watched this. They kind of are what they are. They're good, but they can't get over the hump against good teams. And there's nothing that they did this offseason that makes me go, oh, okay, well, they figured it out.
All right, so I'm assuming you're going in order there. I'm picking the
Well, I would go Bengals 1. I would go Ravens 2, but it's closer than most people have it. And then I would go probably Cleveland, Pittsburgh.
All right. I'm going Steelers second.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I also really like Kenny Pickett a lot. I think Deontay Johnson's back. He had a rough year last year, but he's back. I think you got Pickens is going to be better year 2. TJ Watt's a stud. I don't know, man. I like the Steelers. I like Tomlin. I like everything. The only reason that I give the Steelers shit is because Clay Carter, that works for me, is like my right-hand guy. He's a massive Steelers fan, so I have to mess with him all the time. I mean, Najee Harris. I like the Steelers, man. I'm going Steelers second, and I wouldn't be surprised if they steal a game from Cincinnati during this regular season.
Oh, wouldn't they? They stole one last year.
Yeah, they always seem to do.
Beat them in the opener last year.
All right, my third team, the Cleveland Browns. I'm picking the Ravens DFL in this division.
Okay.
And here's why. The Ravens, Lamar Jackson, when he gets hurt, they're average as grits. They play great. It's like the whole new team has to emerge.
No, they're not even average.
But they, you know what I'm saying? Like defense steps up and they keep things close. And they added, so Todd Monken's the new OC, right? And they're bringing him in from college, from Georgia, but they didn't do any quarterback run stuff at Georgia like they're going to have to do with Lamar. I I think Lamar Jackson is a phenomenal talent. But I'm not in on running quarterbacks in the NFL. And that's where it goes to Deshaun Watson. I mean, it's a push. Put them tied for DFL. The Browns and the Ravens tied for DFL.
Okay.
I'm not as high on Deshaun Watson as everybody else is. I think his better years have passed him. I know they got some pieces around him, but I would pick the Browns ahead of the Ravens. I think Ravens finished DFL in the AFC North.
Okay.
All right, NFC North.
Oh,
this will be interesting.
The sexy pick is the Detroit Lions, but I think there's more substance to it than just talk at this point. They finished the season last year looking like a playoff team. Yeah. I think they'll pick up where they left off. I think the Lions win the North. After that, it gets kind of weird. I'm going to go Minnesota too, but they lost some stuff off that offense. And that offense was Kirk Cousins isn't getting any younger. I've got some concerns there, but I'm going to go Minnesota too. I actually think the Bears get third, and I think the Packers fall.
All right. I don't think we're going to be wrong. We're going to have to switch to, I think, on me and you. I think we're close. I'm also taking the Lions. I think they're the most ready-made team, I guess. You know, I think they've made some improvements on defense off-season.
And Jared Goff was good last year.
Jared Goff's fine.
People do this Jared Goff thing.
Jared Goff's fine.
He had a bad season, and all of a sudden everybody goes, well, he sucks. He doesn't suck.
He's fine.
And his numbers last year were pretty solid.
He's good. Yeah. He's fine. I mean, he's what? I'd say he's a top 16 quarterback in the NFL. He's upper half. But I like the Lions. I got them.
Jared Goff last season.
Yeah.
Threw for 4,438 yards, 65.1% completion.
TD
29-7.
That's awesome.
His QBR was 99.3.
Yeah, anything close to 100.
A year earlier, he was 19-8 on TD's interception, 91.5. The year before that, with the Rams, he was 20-13. His QBR was a 90. He's 67.2%, 67%. I mean,
yeah, he's good.
He's solid.
He's middle of the pack.
Yeah, he's a solid quarterback.
I'm going with the Vikings second. I think they've got – you've obviously – I think Cousins, offensively, they're going to be good. Just defense has been down, man. And last year, they won a ton of close games early. And it kind of held them. I mean, what were they, 8-0 maybe to start the year, whatever it was? They won a ton of –
They were like 8-1.
They were like 9-1. They came from behind maybe 9 times to win or some crazy stat. I think that gets cut. I think they're fine. I think, obviously, with Jefferson, and they got, Jordan Addison, I think is going to be a big part of what they're trying to do. Offensively, I think they're going to be fine, even though Dalvin Cook's gone. I think they'll be perfectly fine on offense. I think they'll be really good. Just defensively, I think it's going to hold them back a little bit. But I got them finishing second. Third, I got the Packers. I have no idea why I have the Packers third. I do think Jordan Love's a little bit better than what people are giving him credit for. I think people are ready to just ship the Packers off to wherever. But I think he's fine. I think he'll do good. I just don't know how many weapons he's going to have. And then last, I'm not sold on Justin Fields. I've made that point on here. If you told me, I know you're a Bears fan, but I just don't see them. I said it. I was about to talk myself into it on Thursday's show, but over the weekend, there's no way I can pick the Bears to win this division. Mm-hmm. I'm not a believer in Justin Fields.
If you said 10 NFL storylines to watch for, Justin Fields is one of the 10 because he's either going to play really well and prove a lot of people wrong, and the Bears are going to go, see, we got our guy. Or, and this is a new leadership group over there, they're going to go, he's not good enough. And the Bears have kind of quietly put some other pieces together.
They got some pieces.
And
that's what made me think that, and but I can't believe it.
But if he's not their guy, they move off of him and they figure out a way to go get a quarterback. By the way, our Bengals play, is this right? The Bengals play in Nashville, October the 1st?
I had no idea. I haven't looked that far.
It's the day after Ole Miss LSU.
No idea.
We could make that trip.
You got me there. We can make a trip. I ain't scared of that. But look, when was the last time a quarterback that cannot throw the football made it in the National Football League? I've said it from the time he went in the draft. The guy can't throw.
Yeah, no,
you can't. And he is a phenomenal athlete.
Yes, he is.
And his best play is when it breaks down and he can just run around and outrun everybody.
And that doesn't win.
But you can't win. You have to throw the football. It's a throwing league.
Yes.
Nobody runs the triple option in the NFL.
It's a precision league.
And I just don't.
That's why the whole can throw it 90 yards. I don't really care. How hard can you throw the out route?
It's about being accurate and being on time.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how you can let let me tell you who the world's worst was. He's not a great NFL quarterback, but he did it in college. Like, remember Danny Werfel?
Mm-hmm.
Dude couldn't throw it through a wet paper bag, but he had let it go. It was all about timing. Are you on time, and do you put the ball where it's supposed to be?
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what the velocity is.
And Fields is not on time, and he's not accurate. Athletic as hell.
Oh, he's woo.
And will make some big plays. He will, but he can't consistently be on time and consistently be accurate. He'll make a throw here and there where you're like, whoa, because of his athleticism. But then he'll follow it up 3rd and 5, and he'll have an open receiver, and he misses him.
Yeah, Dwight brings up a good point. He said RG3 for 1 year. Well, here's what happens with running quarterbacks in the NFL. Okay, you can win a couple games with them. You're not winning a championship, but you can win a couple games with them. But they end up on IR for freaking half their career because it's like they hit at that level. There's grown ass men that kill people for a living. All right, last thing. We'll wrap this thing up. Did you watch any of the Hall of Fame game?
I did not.
All right, I was all geeked up about it. Go, man, and turn it on. They start walking out the Hall of Fame inductees. And there I see DeMarcus Ware. He is going into the Hall of Fame, which makes me feel just like 7,000 years old.
Yep.
So, I'm going to pull this up real quick. Make sure I'm giving the right numbers here. So, DeMarcus Ware, when he played, his playing weight was 6'4", 258. One of the best edge rushers to ever play the game. Obviously, why he's got a gold jacket, right?
Mm-hmm.
DeMarcus Ware, my last weekend working at Troy as a GA, he comes on an official visit. He was coming from Auburn High School. He came with his cousin. We measured him at 6 foot, 193 pounds, and he was a safety wide receiver. So he came to college at 6 foot, 193 and played in the pros at 6'4", 258. That just doesn't happen. That's like freaky genetics.
It was great recruiting right there.
Great recruiting, right?
Yep.
Hey, fun fact, O.C. Umenyiora and DeMarcus Ware both played at Auburn High School and both went to Troy, and both were dominant NFL players that did not go anywhere, went to Troy from Auburn High School, played on the same high school team. They couldn't win a playoff game.
And Auburn didn't offer either one of them.
Well, no, OC wasn't. It took OC a couple of years. OC was a soccer player. Only played 1 year of high school football.
I don't want to hear it.
It took him a couple of years even in college to develop.
I don't want to hear it.
But DeMarcus Ware, whoo.
Total failure.
Yeah. All right, so DeMarcus Ware.
If Auburn would focus less on family, they'd get – I'm kidding. Yeah, total joke.
That was like Carlos Rogers. There were like 4 first-round picks off that high school team, and they didn't win a playoff game. Carlos Rogers, I think, was one. There was another one.
He wasn't from Auburn, was he?
I think so.
No, I don't think so.
There was another one, like an all-SEC player from Auburn or something.
Okay.
I think. Anyway,
yeah,
I'll go look it up. So DeMarcus Ware, my fellow Troy Trojan, has done so much good. Great human being. Decides that he wants to sing the national anthem for the Hall of Fame game.
Okay.
And I'm thinking, dude, this guy's like, he can sing. It took and NBC knew what they were doing. NBC, shame on you. NBC knew what they were doing. He started singing, and they started scanning players' faces to try to get a reaction. And dude, some of the players just had their eyes closed and were gritting their teeth. But here's my problem. It's not with DeMarcus. It's not with NBC. Well, it is with NBC a little bit. It's not with the NFL. But where are DeMarcus's friends at, man?
Right.
Like, you've had to hear this dude sing at some point in time and be like, hey, look, here's what we're going to do. Let's start you off at Auburn High School's game against Opelika. They're going to induct you into the Hall of Fame into Auburn High School. Let's start with a high school national anthem and see how that goes.
Or just someone say, hey,
let's go to the Troy South game.
No.
And try it there.
No. Just someone say, you can't sing.
Don't.
You can do a lot of things. You were a dominant NFL player. You're a good guy.
Like, I don't want the last
but
images.
You can't sing.
I don't want the last images of one of the most dominating edge rushers of all time. Like, they're going to forget all about his sacks. how he was unblockable. They're just going to remember this dude. Oh, say.
Carl Lewis. Carl Lewis won 80,000 gold medals, and all we remember is a singing of the national anthem. Number one, here's the 2 rules about singing.
Don't.
999 out of 1,000 people can't sing. Okay? You can't.
Yeah.
And even if you're one of the rare ones that can, that's not the song to sing. That's a hard song. Try something different first. Like go sing, like seriously. Go to the elementary school, the preschool, and sing Mary Had a Little Lamb or something, and see if that goes over okay.
Do you go to the local Pop Warner and try it out there first? Like, why is your
That'd be fine.
But why is your first go at it?
No.
National
On
TV,
primetime television,
first football game of the year. Like people are going to be tuned in.
Yeah, go to the Stanford Cal game. No one's gonna see it.
The only time anybody's tuned in to the Hall of Fame game, is the beginning because they want to see you walk. Hey, you're walking out on the field with your family on the 50-yard line because you are being recognized as one of the all-time greats to ever play the position. And then you go grab a mic and start. And dude, he was into it. He was holding the ear.
Yeah.
And I love
that's because if you're in the shower or you're out running or something and you're listening to music and you start singing out loud, in your mind,
you can sing.
You're solid.
You can sing
because you're singing along with Eminem, right? Well, yeah,
I don't sing along with Eminem in the shower.
Well, I'm talking about running.
Oh, you sing Eminem while you're running?
Sometimes.
Hit a bar for me.
No, that's my point. No, because when he's singing in my ear. Well, he's helping me with carry the tune. He's helping me with the
yeah.
But if all of a sudden he disappears and I start singing, it's really bad fast. So yes,
Neal McCready and the Funky Bunch.
You got to understand that's the deal. And yes, someone said, "Would you tell your daughters that?" Absolutely.
Yes, you got to be a friend. I blame it on his friends. Like you're not real friends.
No, you're not.
You're not real friends.
You're not a real friend.
You let your guy.
Absolutely.
You let your guy go out there and do that. Do you think he lost? You think he lost his fantasy league last year? You think that's part of it?
I mean, I don't know. They should have told us that though. If that's the case,
that's it. Here's what we got to do. The loser. Listen, we can. I guarantee you, we can get this worked out. The loser of the picks has to go to an Ole Miss basketball game. And sing the national anthem at an Ole Miss basketball game.
No, absolutely not.
Why?
Because I have too much pride for that.
Well, you can do it seriously just because you can't carry the tune. It's not your fault.
I'm not going to go get laughed at by 8,000 people because I lost a bet with you. That's no.
What if I lose?
You're not going to lose.
So you're trying this reverse. You had me last year until I had the perfect weekend.
Not doing it.
I think that would be great.
Not even a chance.
We could get that.
Well, it's not going to happen.
All right, we did have. We're wrapping this thing up. I'd like to say a big shout out to the Oxford Police Department. They liked the idea about the Santa Claus. That'd be funny. We had one come across TikTok that said dress up as a Boy Scout on the square and have to sell a lemonade stand, and you have to sell out a lemonade before. But see, I like this Santa Claus. Boy Scout stuff because, like, if it was Santa Claus, we could charge like $1 for pictures and give the money to charity. We could make a charitable donation kind of thing. We could raise money for charity. We could do that. But the Waffle House stuff is everybody's on the Waffle House stuff. What's your feelings on the Waffle House? I've gotten that 14 times.
Yeah, I don't really think I could do it. I mean, I end up sitting there for 20 hours. I'm just telling you, man.
You couldn't eat a waffle?
12 of them? No, absolutely not.
Dude, I crushed 2 Saturday after I had the breakfast.
No.
I could be out of that place in 5 hours.
I know you could. I don't typically eat a bite before like 11 a.m. at the earliest. I'd get sick. I'm just telling you. If I ate all that stuff, I'd get sick.
You would be a mental wreck.
Oh, mentally, I'd be destroyed.
You'd be on your phone counting calories.
There's no question.
And going like running 75 miles.
Oh, I mean, I would be, yeah. No, I would. My mental illness would kick in so strong.
All right, we got to figure something out. We got like 2 weeks.
Yeah, I would be on a treadmill 24 to 36 hours later doing like a 3-hour run.
What about, here's one that says you got to go to the library. Well, it needs to be something around Christmas. We need to get this thing over with. We don't need to drag it out all year. Somebody was talking about the WNBA. Hell, that shit doesn't start till the summertime. That'd be a long punishment. Yeah. Go to a bar, drink, and every beer you drink, you get an hour off. Bars be closed.
Every beer you drink, you get an hour off the 24?
Yeah. But how many bars are open in 24 hours?
I mean, none in Oxford. We'd have to go to Vegas again.
Dang.
Yeah, everybody knows this. This is more of a Neal punishment. Play golf until I birdied one. I mean, that would. How many golf courses are open 24 hours?
That could go on for a while. Dude, I'll tell you, you don't have a bad swing, though. We can get you fixed up.
Not to where I'm birdieing holes. I mean, I could bogey a hole.
You just got to hit a green on a par 3 and hit a bomb.
No, that's it. Yeah, sure. That's it.
You can do that.
Oh, yeah. Easy.
Through a whole day?
I don't know. Dude, you've not seen me play golf. It's rough. And yeah, I'm not doing a tattoo. Tattoos are out.
Yeah, no tattoos. I'm not doing a tattoo. We'll figure it out. Whichever one. That'd be good.
Yeah, and it's got to be something. It's got to be something that we can somehow turn into content, for sure.
Yeah, so make sure you send it to social media. DMs are open. If you got suggestions, hit us with an email, or in the stream, wherever. Hit us with some ideas. Here's what we'll do. All right, so the week 0 is like a practice run, right? We don't start counting our record to week 1 like we did last year.
Okay.
So when we come into week 0, so we got 2 weeks, right?
Okay.
We have to have, coming into week 0, let's find 3 total punishments, or 4, it doesn't matter, 3 or 4, and then we'll put out a poll. And then let the fans pick from there. We'll get the top 4, put out a poll.
Okay. I'm just going to tell you the singing is out.
Well, I'm saying we'll pick the 4.
Okay.
So you will have agreed to 4 that you would do.
Okay.
Or I would do. I keep saying that. I'm going to be the end up one losing. You watch.
No, you won't. No, you won't.
Neal, if
you get inside information that I don't get.
You can't say that shit. Have you not been watching all this stuff with Iowa State? We'll be under NCAA investigation.
I won't be.
Before the end of the week.
No, I won't.
I don't get inside information from nobody. I don't know nothing.
Okay.
Allegedly.
I
don't get inside information on nothing. All right. So here's, you were, no, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. Charlie Baker will be on my ass. Yeah. All right. So you got to understand, like last year you had me beat, and then you had like 2 weeks that you were super busy and you didn't even look at your picks.
Yeah, no, that's what killed me.
You were ahead.
But that's probably going to happen again.
No, because you don't have 87 player shows that you're getting 37 cents to do to help out a team.
That's true. Man, do you know how happy I am my Sundays are free? Like, I'm going to do 10 weekend thoughts. I can get those done by like 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
So we can get you the house for Sunday afternoon football barbecue.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Last year I couldn't do it.
But hey, Neal.
I mean, I literally couldn't do it.
Hey, Neal, look, we got 4 TVs going. We got the grill going. We got the beer flowing.
So last year, the schedule.
Kane, I got to talk about the MAC this weekend.
Last year, the schedule was I was supposed to talk to Troy Brown at 2 o'clock, Mason Brooks at 2:30, and Davison Igbenogson at 3. Okay? Ask me how many weeks that happened. One. One time. Now, ask me how many times I did one at like 2, another at 5, and then one at 8 o'clock. Most weeks. How many I had to scramble and make one up on a Monday and send it to Caroline going, hey, turn this around now. That happened a good bit. I'm like, never, and then ask me how much money did you make off those 3 shows collectively? 38.5 cents. I mean, never. No
half.
More.
You cut
I
one
made
half.
a half cent. I cut a penny
Split
in half. Yeah, yeah. I had to, and then I had to report that to Ole Miss's compliance office. No, never, no more, no muss.
What is Austin says if Tyler loses, he has to do a color run.
It's
what
where you body paint and stuff. They put that and you go run.
The hell's the point of that? Is that one you running downtown San Francisco?
No, I mean I'm sure they have one there, but no, they.
This episode brought to you by the Biden administration, 2024.
Get your vaccine. Even if it kills you. But it won't.
Boy, Nick Rolovich is coming out of this thing smell like a rose, isn't he?
Yeah, I'd like
still not coaching, by the way.
He's a guy I'd like to get on the show.
We can probably do that.
I mean, I would really. His story, no joke. His story to me is fascinating.
I got to get him on. I got to reach out to him. Good dude. Good people.
All right, we'll wrap it up there. Thanks to everybody for being with us. We went off the rails there at the end, but it happens. Yeah. Brought to you by Rain Total Body Fuel, 300 milligrams, natural caffeine, BCAAs, electrolytes, zero sugar. It's got what you need to push the limits and achieve your goals. Check them out on Instagram at Rain Body Fuel to learn more. And for clarity, Tyler does not get information. It's just me being sour.
Yes, thank you. You heard that NCAA. They've already tuned out by now. They've already got the investigators halfway down.
I was doing well, and then I wasn't doing well.
They're going to look, see how many people I had sleeping on my couch and all kinds of stuff.
I blamed it on Tyler knowing what quarterback was and wasn't going to play and things of that nature. But anyway, it's not inside information if you read it in a newspaper, and I didn't read it. So there you go. All right, we'll wrap it up there. We'll be back on Thursday. I guess we'll talk AFC, NFC East. Whatever else may or may not come up with West. Is it West?
We're West.
Okay, we're going West. Okay. We'll talk about that. Whatever else may come up. This conference realignment thing. Nothing is safe and locked in stone till August the 15th. So keep an eye on that. So
Hard Knocks tomorrow night.
Oh, is it tomorrow night?
And the Johnny Manziel Untold tomorrow. 2 football things. If you guys want to check it out.
Okay. So we'll may talk about those things as well. So, all right. So for Tyler, I'm Neal. Take care.